What's going on, Shiloh?
Hey, not too much. Kneeling down here next to this 48-inch induction range. What are we going through today?
Isn't she pretty?
She's beautiful. I love it. Stainless steel.
Full induction with the griddle and griddle underneath, induction underneath the griddle.
Yeah, love the griddle. Whole salmon on here. Some nice flapjacks. It's beautiful.
Like it, man. So today we're going to get into service mode. Welcome to another Peak Performance. My name is Mike Lang and this is Shiloh Verbeek. We're with the after sales department. Today we're going to talk about service mode on Fulgor Milano Pro ranges and ovens. I'm going to let you kind of take over the differences between the two sets of electronics, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got two types of electronics. We've got a modular as well as the older style, the Hawk. There's a couple of key differences between telling the difference, and I'll go through one of those and Mike will take the other one. So the first one I'm going to start with, if we're looking at the display here, you'll see that there's nothing at the top of our clock. On the older Hawk units, you'll see mode and temp. Because they're not here, this is clearly a modular, and then there's another secret way to tell.
So if you walk up to it and you only see the clock, you know that it's a modular LED. So it's one of the newer production runs. Pretty rare that you're going to see mode and temp these days on anything for new production, but you will still see them in the field and we can 100% support them. There is one more secret hidden menu though. Shiloh, you know more about this than I do.
Okay, so on that left side in here on your larger cavity, you're going to find a data tag. This is going to have some really important information, your serial, your model, as well as an approval code. It is a rather small font, so you're going to have to take and really pay attention to this. But as you're reading that approval code, you'll find in the middle, there's one character difference. There's an L for your modular units and an M for your Hawk units. Knowing that you have an L, you'll know that you have modular. So if you have no power, you can double check that approval code as well.
Or if the customer doesn't have power, or they are unable to say they see the mode and temp words, and you just want to verify, ask them for a picture of the data tag. That will tell you everything you need to know. Share it with us, and we're happy to send you guys the correct parts. So those are the two ways that we can identify the two sets of electronics on these ranges. So you do have a 5-minute delay, and we went ahead and hit the circuit breaker already. So let's go ahead and pop into service mode if you don't mind, Shiloh.
So we're going to go ahead and hold two buttons. We're going to hold the far left, which is menu and preheat, and the far right, large and small. If you're working on a 36-inch range, still the same thing, the two outside buttons. We're going to hold those together for about 5 seconds.
Once everything lights up, it'll beep at you. Then you start getting some software revisions and some numbers on the screen. Do not fret. So N15 is programming code. We have my laptop here. So when you replace a set of electronics, there's a good chance that you may get an F11 code. F11 is not an error. It just means that the software needs to be programmed. So N15 is for a 48-inch oven. As you can see, you might not be able to see on my screen, but for a 30 or 36 is N03. To change this, you would push the menu button one time. Now N15 is flashing. You push menu again, N15 is solid. That's confirming programming. Now we have to step through the rest of programming, or service mode to confirm programming. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at N15. Go ahead and push the plus button one time.
And now because this has already been programmed, it is going to refresh back to this user or UERS sign, and then that plus will start to navigate. So as we go through the beginning, these are just software numbers or programming numbers. You can double check these on the service menu, and we can also skip through them. And typically, your test is going to start when you hit the PROB off.
So this is where you would insert your meat probe during this test. So some of these ranges do come with a meat probe with the machine. Some of them, it's an accessory. If it's an accessory and it does not come with one, we can call the customer, talk to them, and program it with the actual probe. But if it calls for one and it comes with one, insert your meat probe during this part of the test. That way you make sure the electronics can understand that you have the meat probe function. I'm going to go ahead and hold it in my hand for a sec so you can kind of watch the temperature rise a little bit.
So we are displaying 75 Fahrenheit, and you can see his body temperature has raised this to 80, and we're going to see if we can get this up to 85 to really see if this probe is detecting some heat.
There we go.
So we're up to 85. We know that this probe is working. It's detecting his body heat. We can go ahead and unplug the probe, and then we'll move forward in the test.
Quick little tip. During this modular LED, you do not need to leave this in for the duration of the test. On the Hawk 3 version of this model, where you have the Hawk 3 electronics, you do need to leave the meat probe in throughout the duration of the test. Just a little quick tip.
Great reminder on that. So I'm going to go ahead and use the plus as we navigate through Mike's large cavity side. So as I plus, we're going to get here to what looks like 500. In the service manual, see this is S00.
So that's where we got here on the screen here. So it is an S. S00 is absolutely nothing until we get to S01 is going to be your oven lights. So this is the actual service manual. It's a very robust service manual. It's available online, multiple different places, but we're going to go scroll through along with service mode. So S01 is going to be your oven lights. And as you can see, oven lights turned on. Go ahead and push plus for me again. This should be our cooling fan. You might be able to hear some airflow, but I can definitely feel it.
Nice cool breeze in the kitchen now.
All right, next step. So S03 is going to be convection fan. This is not element, this is just fan only. And I know you should probably be able to hear that as well. Now this is true convection. We're circulating air, true convection here. Okay, next step. So S04, no tests, nothing is used at this time. Double line brake relay is used on the main control board just to make sure voltage can pass. No real specific thing is going to happen during this test, so you can pretty much just pop over S04. S05 is going to be your bake element. It's a hidden bake element, so it will take some time for this bottom to start to warm up for you to start to feel that element get hot. So if you have a smaller oven, you can pull it out and you can check your continuity of your element. You can check voltage to the element at this point. But if you have a 48 and you're in service test mode, we haven't pulled the tool out of our bag yet and we're running through service mode, we start feeling this get warm, we know for sure we have a good bake element. We know we didn't have any error codes as far as bake element issues, so we can kind of assume that we have a good bake element, but that's a great test.
And I'm going to take a second longer to say, you do want to allow this just a few seconds, 30 seconds to a minute to heat up, foreshadowing for the end of the test when we actually check the temperature probe as well. Getting hot, so we're going to go to S06.
So this is going to be a broil element. So this one, you will feel some heat pretty quickly on this one because it's an exposed element. So once you start feeling some heat, before you start getting it too hot inside of there, go ahead and advance through the test. All right, so ring element. Ring element's always going to turn on your convection fans as well. It doesn't want to keep those elements as hot as possible without any air movement. So you will hear those fans come on again, but you will feel heat this time along with those fans. Perfect. Go ahead and push plus. All right, so we're at S08. So this is an additional element. So broil actually has two elements up there. There are two elements, 10 pass element. This is going to check the outer element, so we can feel it getting nice and hot. All right, S09. This is where we're going to get into our oven temperature selector and oven function, or excuse me, oven temp selector and function selector tests. So C00, this is going to be for your function selector. We're going to turn the function selector knob one click to the right. This counts to C001. That should be convection bake. It shows convection bake on my knob, so we're good to go. If this counts 1, 2, 3 consecutively, we know we probably have a great encoder. If it jumps from 1 to 4, you may have a bad encoder at that point because it's not showing you each individual number as you pass through each setting. So perfect. We're at S09. You can push plus again. So S10, this is going to be your temperature selector. Very same idea. You're going to turn it one click to the right. This is going to be your lowest temperature setting. When this is a brand new board, you're going to program this machine to its lowest temp. So right now it's at 170. If you push menu one time, that should drop it down to the lowest temp. Normally it would be like 190. 170 is now where customer is able to proof. Now we're going to turn this up to the max temperature. Normally it's at 525. At this point you would push menu. You would get to your 550. Now you just set your high and low parameters for that customer. They can bake it and broil at 550 and they can proof at 170. And then go to clean, make sure your clean function pops up, and then off. We're past the encoder tests.
Another great way is to just say that you're recalibrating both of these knobs essentially.
So this is my favorite part of the test actually, because most of the time when you're working on a range or an oven, the complaints are it's not heating properly, not cooking properly, not getting hot, usually in that realm. This test right here, if you push the menu button, this tells you the internal temperature probe located up in the top section here. We had all of these elements energized at one point during this test, and we're reading about 80 degrees Fahrenheit inside of there right now. So without getting it extremely warm, and it's about 75 degrees in here right now, so that's good. That's a good test for us to see as technicians. If this was reading 100 degrees or a really high or really low number, that may be a direction to go towards if the customer's undercooking, overcooking, burning the outsides of foods, check their preheat times. Obviously there's more things to get into, but this is a great visual test for us technicians and customers to see that, hey, temp probe is probably reading okay. Go ahead and push menu, and then it goes back to S11. So now we're gonna pop onto your side.
So as I press the plus here, we're going to jump straight to S13. This is going to jump us to our small cavity. So starting our test over, this is going to be the oven light. We can see it's clearly on. We'll plus forward again to our 14. This is our cooling fan. We can hear it. We can feel that cold air, so we know that that is working perfectly. Plus forward to the S15. This is our convection fan. Small cavity is a single convection fan. And again, we can feel that air. There is no element energized, so it's just that fan. Plus here to our double line break for the relay. So again, making sure that no elements are energized. This is usually used within the factory and for testing. Plus forward to our 17 to this bottom element. So this is a smaller oven. These are smaller elements. This will take a little bit longer to get hot. Again, be mindful. You don't want to run them or energize them too long. 30 seconds to a minute just to feel a little bit of warmth, and then we can pass forward. So I can feel her starting to provide a little bit of warmth. So I'm going to go ahead and press forward here to 18. This is going to be that broil element. Again, a smaller element.
If you leave these tests on for the broil long enough, you will see the element glow red hot. I don't like to personally get them to glow red hot because then it's going to affect my temperature probe readings, and I like that temperature probe reading. That way I can kind of associate that to the customer's temperature of their home and kind of get a good idea of what that temp probe's reading.
Yeah. And she's definitely putting off a little bit of heat now, so we know that that's working. So we'll go forward to that 19. This is now our ring element with that fan. So if we do wait 30 seconds to a minute, we'll get a little bit of heat pushing out with that fan circulation. I can smell the element energizing right now as well. So this is a clear indication that this element is working. So we're going to go ahead and skip. As Mike said, on the large oven broil element, there is that outer auxiliary element. That is the same true for the small oven as well. Because we've already energized the broil element, this one is very quickly giving off some heat. So we'll pass forward to 21. And now we will do the cooking mode test for the selector on the small oven. So clockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then back to the off position.
I got a question for you real quick. What if you have a customer and as you're turning your function selector knob, it's really easy to turn, like almost too easy to turn. You don't feel that tactile clicky feel. What can we do about that? Is there anything that can be done?
That is a great question and a great point that you bring up, Mike. So there is something that we can do for that. We do have a new piece. This is a mechanical additive for the encoder that will give it that tactile, that clicky feeling. So if you're finding that the knobs are spinning too loosely or you really can't tell that you're putting it in that cooking mode, reach out to us. Our tech support team will be more than happy to get those parts on order and a service agent out. And it's a very quick upgrade that will give you that tactile feeling again.
Perfect.
So as we plus here again to our S22, that is again our temperature knob. So we're gonna go clockwise, just one click. It is the lowest parameter, so we're going to set it again to the 170. We'll go all the way to the large size, 550, our highest parameter, and we'll lock that in as well. Clean, and then back to off. So now we're in our last step here, S23. This is going to be checking the temp probe in the small oven. We'll press menu. I ran these elements a little bit longer. It's also a smaller cavity, so it's going to build with hot air a little bit quicker. So we're showing about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll click that off, and now we've brought ourselves to the end of our test. So as I click this plus, you'll see end here on the display, and then it's going to quickly jump.
Push and hold the outer two buttons to exit.
Oh, my apologies, he checked me. So hold outer two buttons and then we will see off on flashing on the display. This is letting you know you've reached the end of your test. Go ahead and cut the power, bring everything back on, and it'll appear at your clock. So
it is a must to make sure that you unplug or hit the breaker to turn it back on to make sure that it confirms that programming. Because if you end up leaving after that, the customer will call back and say that they have another issue. The F11 came back because programming was never confirmed. So just be mindful, always unplug it, plug it back in. That's what the off on means. Same thing for wall ovens. It's going to have the same idea. It's going to give you a message. It's not going to say off on, but it's going to say disconnect and reconnect power. It's also going to eliminate the ability for the customer to go into service mode when the technician is not there.
So now that we're on this off on, we're going to go ahead and trip the breaker to finish it. But there's a couple other things that we just want to review with you about service mode and utilizing this for the best features.
My favorite is going to be that temp probe test.
Absolutely. So temp probe test, if you have a homeowner in the house or out in their home saying that it's not heating properly, it's not cooking food, maybe they're even burning food, you can get into that temp probe and check the real temperature. So preheat to 350, allow it to chime, go into the service mode quickly, go to the temp probe option and check what it's at. We're going to trust this temp probe in this unit a little bit more than we're going to trust an analog thermometer. So utilizing this is going to be the best option.
Yeah, analog thermometers have a little bit of a delay. They will tell you a good temperature, but it's going to have about a 20-25 minute delay of what you're actually setting it to. It will get there. Using this test is going to be a great resource. Me being a technician for over 25 years, pulling out a 48-inch range to put my meter onto the terminals for that temp probe just to ohm it out to see the resistance of it, when this machine will do it for me by pushing a couple buttons, is a lifesaver. So save your knees, save the shoulders, save the customer's floors, save the product. Just push a couple buttons and see what the temperature is reading. If it points you in the direction that you need to go for that temp probe and you're skew way off one direction or another, then let's go towards the temp probe. But let's not head there first and pull the machine out if we don't absolutely need to.
Perfect. A couple other things that we'll leave you guys with. Don't forget, you can get these boards available at pinnacleapplianceparts.com, direct from the manufacturer, OEM parts. And if you ever need a probe or anything like that, you can find those there as well. Tech support is available for you Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. You can reach out to any of our great technicians and they'd be more than happy to walk through this service manual or the setup of a F11 error or something along those lines as well.
Yeah, tech support phone number 877-383-7787. We are all happy to help. This is probably going to be one of my favorites so far, is the service mode, because it just goes into grave detail. And when you guys have access to the service menu and the service manual, you will see how robust it is and how much information is on there. We also host this information available on our parts website, pinnacleapplianceparts.com. If you go to find a part and you click on Fulgor Milano Tech Documents, you will find all of the models that are sold in the US, and you will find service manual, parts explosion, and exploded view on there as well, just for your ease of access.
Thank you again for joining us on Peak Performance. Again, my name is Shiloh.
This is Mike. Thank you again. See you guys next time.
Take care.